Welcome to the Old Souls and Seekers podcast, a podcast that transcends the typical personal development journey. You're not new to this. You've read the books, attended the seminars, and perhaps even tried various coaching programs, yet something still feels amiss. Elon and Guy have over 2 decades of relentless searching and $1 million invested in their personal growth quest. Here's the revelation. You're not missing anything. You're not even behind. You might have just been searching in the wrong places. In each episode, we'll uncover the most effective, straightforward practices that have profoundly impacted our lives and the tens of thousands of our clients from all over the world. This is about real, sustainable results for those dedicated to their personal and spiritual growth. So get ready to explore and enjoy the show. Welcome Tuesday Tune-Up. I'm Elon. The other one is Guy. How's everyone doing? Welcome. We got anybody here to that it's their first time, just out of curiosity? I see a lot of names that I know well, so I'm just wondering. Well, I had a really amazing conversation with someone this morning. And every once in a while, I have the privilege of speaking to people who are looking at joining some of our programs and, diving deeper into this work. And we had this really beautiful conversation today. And I just wanted to bring parts of it through. And, with Guy here, we can probably elaborate and take this in a few different directions. The ultimate thing that kind of came through, and this has been coming through quite a lot actually with conversations I have with prospects, is I don't know what's happened with me. I don't know how my tracking and visual tracking and things that I'm hearing and seeing has just gotten so much clearer than it ever has before, that one of the things I'm noticing is when I sit with not every person, but certain people, it's almost like I can see what the soul's purpose is on this planet, why it came. And then as we discuss, it just becomes really, really clear. And it's kind of cool because I get to share that with the person that I'm talking to and let them feel if that resonates for them. And one of the things that I keep seeing over and over and over again is that intuitively, when I share this thing that I, comes through or that I see, most people get really touched by it. They're really moved by it. And then the other piece that I start tracking is their soul, their heart, everything kind of starts beaming. It's so excited. It's oh my God, they see me. I'm so excited. And then the human comes in, and this is overlay that comes in and is so scared. So scared. It's I don't want that. And it just freaks out, and I can feel and see this overlay and how much it constricts this soul in the human form, and how much it kind of tries to put everything back together. And I feel this pulling back, right? They talk about all these things, or I share these things, and everything's just kind of bright and open and just yes. And then when it comes to actually doing the thing, being seen, putting themselves out there, stepping into that big role, there's this just, and I'm oh, this is kind of what we as humans go through. Every single one of us, what we go through day in and day out. And he said something really interesting. He said a few very, very interesting things. One of the things that he said that was very interesting, he said, 10 years ago, I was much more able to just kind of allow things to go and whatever. Like there wasn't this same drive, but he's like, today, I don't have, he used the word patience, but it's different than that. It's not just patience. He's like, I don't have the ability to put up with mediocrity in a way anymore. It's like, and I say this to people all the time, you know, I assert that we all have a soul's purpose that we come here with. When we're younger, it's a lot easier to be ideological. It's a lot easier to get sucked into kind of the mind game of this is what it looks like to be successful, and I need to own this house and that car and be married to this person, have this many kids and have this kind of life and blah, 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 blah. And so we run around kiboshing or overstepping this soul's desire. And it pokes its head out every once in a while. Like it talks to us and it wants us to move in certain directions. And when we're younger, I think we have a better ability to quiet it down and then just kind of like do the human thing and just go for it. As we get older, I think what happens is our ability to dim that voice becomes less. And I do think that in essence, the voice of the soul becomes louder and it becomes a lot harder to just ignore it, I guess, because it's incessant, right? It's like keeping you up at night. It's pinging you during the day. And it's like, we got to stop doing this. We got to get on our path and purpose. Like we're wasting our time, right? And it gets louder and louder and louder and more incessant till eventually you just can't avoid it anymore. And then you end up finding Satori Prime. But I really do believe that people that come into this world, I really don't believe that there's an accident that has you find your way into this kind of work, into this kind of practices, into this kind of teachings. And it's like they say all the time, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And it was same for us too. 15 years, we had a certain intention and path, and all the teachers that aligned with that path came up. And when we were done with that path and created a new intention, all these other teachers and teachings came into our lives. So
still happens.
Say it again.
Still happens.
Still happens. Yes. So what I want to offer you is that if you're here, it'd be worthwhile for you to actually explore what's happening in your life at this very moment. Because my guess is that you've put up with things for a very long time. And the thing that you came here to work on or understand or fix or overcome or whatever, the thing that brought you here didn't happen last year. It didn't get created a month ago, right? Like it's something that you've been aware of for most of you, probably decades. And you've put up with it, and it's been okay to put up with it. And then something happened. Recently, my guess is something happened. And that thing that happened snapped you awake and was like, I am not willing to put up with this shit anymore. Mm-hmm. And I have to do something about it. And my guess is that's what had you, whether you clicked on an ad or found us, however you like, that's what brought this into your awareness. And what I said to him today was that I like the visual analogy that came through was, saying yes to these practices and this kind of work is like, because he was talking about ships and, finding your way and this and that. I was like, honestly, it's not that. It's getting on a boat and going into the middle of the ocean without any fucking clue of which direction land is in. And knowing that just by the virtue of saying, yes, I'm going to leave this shore and I trust fully that I will be guided where I'm supposed to be, that sailing somehow in the middle of this ocean, which seems infinite and dark and endless, becomes the answer, becomes the thing that helps you find who you really are, like at a soul level, who you really are. Mm. Because it's in these moments of going into that space that is going to bring up everything that has been fighting you all this time, like all the things that are against you living your soul's purpose are going to arise when you just leave the shore and head out into the unknown. And the human hates it. It's not like, it hates it. It doesn't want to be there. It has no interest. It likes where you are. Even if where you are is miserable, shitty, annoying, frustrated, angry, it doesn't care. It's like, I know how to deal with this. What I don't know how to deal with is what is potentially out there. This, I've crafted a way for us to survive. So it's like, let's just stay here. And so what I said to him, I was like, what saying yes to yourself takes is an incredible amount of courage. And I'm not saying just like, it's an immense amount of courage to do this. Because the ask is step into the void. Mm-hmm. Step into the unknown. You know, like when we used to sell Facebook marketing programs and we would teach people how to do Facebook marketing, it wasn't stepping into the unknown. It was like, step into this world where I'm going to teach you a bunch of tricks, and then you're going to be able to take this $5,000 that you invest with us and go make 50, right? Like, and the brain is like, $5,000, $50,000? Yeah, I can do that. Let's do that. It gets it. It gets it. It's like, oh, I give you this amount of money, and then I get this amount of money. Yes, let's do that. But when I say to someone, invest $5,000 in yourself and step into the unknown, the brain's like, we're going to die. Right? It's like, it doesn't want to do that. And all of a sudden, the investment takes so much more courage. Because you feel, and I'm with people on these calls, and I can feel when their system lights up like a Christmas tree. It's like so excited by this potentiality of who they actually are. And when they see it, they're like, oh my God, yes, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. It's like, well, this is what it's going to take. And then the human goes, oh, well, fuck no, we're not doing that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh. Because it's not just about that, right? It's not just about this program. I know that them saying no in that moment, once they've experienced this soul thing, like, I don't know the next time they're going to have that experience where they're going to really like feel their soul's calling, right? Like the door opens, the slipper is like this big. And I'm like, in that moment, you have a choice. Like, are you walking through that sliver of a door? Because I know within an hour of us getting off the call, boom, that door's going to fucking slam shut. And then who else? Like what? Then what? Then you wait another 3 years, 5 years, 10 years for another experience or another moment where you have that opportunity. And then you would look back and go, why didn't I fucking do this 5 years ago or 10 years ago? That's going to be your only regret, is that you just didn't start sooner. And this, I'm talking about anything in life, right? Like that takes investing in ourselves and walking into this great unknown. That's what it takes. And you can talk to anyone here, like Sally's in our program and Alex is in our program. She's one of our coaches, and Andrea is one of our coaches. And I saw Ian here is one of our coaches, right? Like they'll all tell you, this is one of the most unpredictable, unbelievable, mind-blowing, soul-opening experiences you will ever register for. And none of us can predict what that journey is going to be like for you. I don't know. I don't know the layers and knots that need to be, seen and felt through and all that stuff. I don't know. I just know that if you do it, your life will never be the same. And your experience of yourself in life will never be the same. And the things that you get to bring through and the impact that you get to make with others will never be the same. And so I get so sad when people let the human dictate. Truly, like it makes like a piece of me just gets so sad. And I know everyone's got their own journey, so I can't convince anyone or make anyone do anything. Like I'm very clear about that. And I feel sad. Like that's the end of it. So he said this great line, which I really wanted to share. And I told him I'm gonna borrow this and use it. We were talking about how like, when you're kind of like plugging along with life and you're trying to build something, okay, anything, it doesn't matter what it is, and you work really hard at it. I said to him, I was like, when you use the same material, like inside right now, every single one of us has a set of material, and we can build our future and what we want with the sets of material that we have. Now, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how fast you work or how efficiently you work. I want you to get, you're still using the same material. So I'm creating this like beautiful, what I saw with him. And then I'm asking him questions and he's answering all these beautiful things. And what we came to, I was like, you're playing with Legos and I'm inviting you to go build pyramids with me. Right? Like, our building blocks are very different. And then he said this great line. He's like, I don't want to play with Legos anymore. I want to feel what life feels like when I can play with marble.
Whoa.
And I was like,
I got chills.
Right? I was like, what a beautiful sentiment. And like, it just hit. I was like, humans are just sitting here taking this. We're like, okay, I don't like the way this is built. But it's the same fucking Legos. You're just building these stacks, but just restacking them. It's like, what else are you going to build? It's still going to be made out of Lego. When you go inside and you unravel and unlock who you actually are, you really start playing with marble. And you can build magnificent things. Even the things that are simple are magnificent because of the material that you're building them with. And when he said it, I was like, dude, that is a great way to describe it. Are you feeling inspired by these podcasts? Is this approach striking a chord with you? Imagine taking this journey even further with personal coaching from Guy and I, right from your own home on Zoom. Join us at our next live event. They happen quarterly. It's an accessible, cost-effective way to dive deep into these transformative practices, not just theoretically, but experientially. Attendees often share that they've experienced unprecedented levels of peace, support, forgiveness, and awareness. Remember, healing isn't just a mental exercise. It must be felt and released through the body. So here's a special gift just for you, our valued listener. Visit intuitivemind.live and use the coupon code OLDSOUL to receive 25% off your ticket. The Intuitive Mind event is unlike any other. So impactful that many participants return multiple times, some as many as 10, 12, even 15 times. Plus, once you register, we'll immediately send you a recording of a previous event so that you can start practicing right away. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to intuitivemind.live, secure your spot for our next live event using the coupon code OLDSOUL, and start your transformative journey today. Now, back to the show.
What a beautiful metaphor.
Right?
Yeah. Stunning. Well, I mean, are you complete on that thought process? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was seeing like Veronique, saying I would do it.
I'll just switch the cameras. I don't know how to.
Yeah. Okay. I saw Veronique posting in there about, that she would do this ride all over again. So there are two sentiments that I feel very warm about, generally speaking. Number one is if somebody trusts us with a spouse or significant other in their life. We've had people bring their moms and they do this work and then they bring their partners and stuff like that. Like, to me, it's like the biggest compliment you can give us. It's like you're gonna entrust us with somebody in your life as well, in this work. I should say more of this work than me and Elon specifically, but obviously we have something to do with it as the talking heads. And then the other sentiments that we hear a lot is like, I would do it all over again. Or had I known what I was going to get from this work, I would have said yes earlier or invested way more. And that's a thing where like, it's really hard to put a value on really the value of this work, because the value is ultimately priceless. Like what do you value? Quality of life.
Yeah.
At the end of life for a lot of people, or when people get sick, how much money would they hand over to just have one more good year of health where they're appreciative and present and all that kind of stuff? And it's like, none of us really have to wait till we're terminal or, have some kind of chronic disease to get to a place in our lives where we're widely appreciative and experiencing those elevated qualities we can, because I think that's ultimately the chosen path for every human being, for every soul. We're here to evolve. We're here to grow. Like, it doesn't make sense that an entity that is part of everything would choose to disconnect from that to have this particular experience if it wasn't massively and ultimately valuable for that piece of consciousness or whatever it develops into. And I really trust in that. And I can't think of any consumer good or anything that I purchased in my life, regardless of how much I wanted it or how much joy it may have brought me in the short term, that didn't have a depreciating value over time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I bought that were like really expensive, but then like a year later, I'm like, or like, why did I think that was expensive? Like, it's weird how value works with money. Sometimes I'll spend a little bit on something and I'm totally fucking irritated that I just spent like an extra $1.50 on it, but I'll go spend 10 grand and like not even think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's hard to equate where we put value in our lives. But again, show me one consumer good, show me any product that you can purchase that its a value appreciates over time, no matter what, like always appreciates, minus, classic Porsches, like I can't, or like classic cars. There's very few things in art, right? But again, those are all kind of like a gamble. You buy the thing, you hope that in the future it goes up. I can't think of anything that enhances the quality of life other than doing in our work with yourself or within community and stuff like that. So it's like, those are the things you want to really focus on, because here's the reality. No matter what you start brand new, you are truly a fucking idiot at it.
Yeah.
You are confused and frustrated. Like, I'm doing something new right now in an arena that I have been in for almost 15 years. And I'm not talking about personal development work. I'm talking about marketing and sales. I started something new, a totally new education for me. I've been doing marketing and sales for 15 years online, almost 14 years online, to be totally clear. I'm rounding up because it sounds cool at 15. 14 years I've been doing that. And I'm doing this thing and I'm like, because it's like my anticipation of the results that I can get with my know-how and my this and that. I've been doing it for 3 weeks right now, 0 results. I mean, like, not a stitch of a fucking result.
Not even a titter.
Yeah, not even a titter. Exactly. And so, but it's cool to watch because I love watching now from the awareness that I have that, hey, that's still in me, but it's like what this would have done for me in the past is it would have changed my mood. I would have felt ungrounded. It would have impacted other areas of my life. I'm like, oh, there's a part that really doesn't like that. I sit and I'm like, wow, I can't imagine how much ground is in there. And it's like, I remember when Elon and I first put this company together, and we did it like many of you guys when you're creating stuff from a lot of distortion. We were like saviors of the planet. We wanted to help everybody, and and it was great to some extent, but it created a world of challenges in terms of what we were attracting into our life, because to be somebody's Superman, you need victims all the time to save. You need helpless people that literally can't help themselves. And it was extremely draining on our systems, right? You see this in all the Superman movies. He's like conflicted about his role and how much he intervenes in people's lives because he can save them. But it's like, but there's kind of like a natural order to things. Like, where do you input, where I assert my power and my influence, and where do I withhold and just let the unfolding occur? And I have found a lot more, I even want to say, power for people and really stepping back and giving space for them to have whatever they need to have and not really intervening at all. Which ultimately, I think for anybody as a parent, the more you intervene with the child, the more you tell them how to be, the worse the relationship becomes. And your real job is to kind of like hold the safe space and container for the child and let them know that it's okay to express, it's okay to not get it right, it's okay to feel what they're feeling, and you just keep holding the container until they accept every aspect of themselves. And most of us never got that kind of feedback.
Yep.
And so as we grow and we learn in this work, we are reparenting and repatterning, right, the things that we missed in our lives so that we can allow ourselves to be what it is that we really are. So I'm in this experience, and that's the whole point. is that like, I'm just allowing myself to be what it is. And I know that like, it doesn't really matter. Even if it takes me a year to get this, it's so valuable what the end game is. But like in a year from now, even 3 weeks from where I started, there's so much nuance, little things I've noticed already. I'm not getting the results I want. I'm not nailing the target every time, but like that nuance is so important. And it's like fun to throw yourself back in the ring of something that's frustrating, because you get to see, how do I respond to it? So it's funny because I'm less inclined to be result driven, and I'm more inclined to be just interested in what my parts and what my body is doing, what my psychology is doing. And I'm like, oh, there's so much gain in that, even if I don't get any results here, which I will, but because it's just about patience and persistence, right? But it's always about patience and persistence. But even if I don't get any results, or at least the results I desired, it will be a stepping stone to something else. Something else that's great. I'll see an opportunity I would have never noticed before because I'll have the eyes to see it. You know, or I don't know, maybe like an opportunity comes or a partnership comes and I'm like, yeah, I can help you with that. Great. Or I can direct a friend who's in need, be like, hey, if you did this for a little while, it's really going to support you and help you. And it's like, that's, again, it's priceless. So either we learn to follow our intuition and recognize that when we do, we are often going to be met with frustration and confusion as we peer down into these unknown caverns that Elon is talking about. But life itself can take on a really high quality texture when what? When the unknown is no longer scary. Mm-hmm. When you can peer down into that dark cave and know that you have the wherewithal to walk into it, and not because you're applying courage or force, because that's what I meant to say about the way Elon and I did our business in the past. We were great because we had an insane amount of willpower. We grew up to survive. Willpower was a skill we had to acquire. To survive in our home, willpower was a skill we had to acquire. Many of you guys have that too. And some of you guys didn't have that, by the way. It's like there's a very definite point in human development where the child either develops willpower or that willpower is taken from them. It's like kind of crushed out of them. And it just depends on how the child responds to the challenges. So we had an immense amount of willpower. I still have an immense amount of willpower, but I don't apply it to get what I want, which used to be the only thing I did to try to get what I want. And today there could be there's the softness of allowing the experience to be there and like recognizing that, hey, there's frustration here now, and not to use the distortion of the willpower to try to overcome that feeling of inadequacy or that feeling of frustration or confusion, which really is just an overlay and an avoidance system. Mm-hmm. And I'm not committed to that overlay or that avoidance anymore. I don't want to avoid anything. Every experience is an opportunity to learn. Every experience is an opportunity to love yourself more. And the only way you can recognize that you don't love yourself more is by finding the parts where you don't love yourself more. And so it's like, you know, with this experience will enable you and any user that's committed to this practice, and they're not just a student of it, but they have become a practitioner and you are moving towards mastery or are beginning to master this work, there is a world of opportunity that you would have said no to because of the discomfort within your body. Just like when people say to this work, like saying yes to this work and doing this work, it pretty much guarantees that within a period of time, you will eliminate that response from your system. Everything will suddenly be open to you. So again, like what's the valuation you put on having more possibility or opportunity in your life? Because how many things have shown up in your life before that you're like, I can't do that. And it's strictly based on old conditioning, or the relationship you have with money, or the relationship you have with time, or the relationship you have with, I can't do that because I'm no good, or whatever those things are. And so as you clean up, repair, restore, revitalize those aspects of yourself, everything takes on a new texture, right? And that's really the beauty, is like having that confidence that you can step into everything and know that it's not going to throw you off anymore. You're not going to fall down completely and be a helpless human being. You're just like, I just know myself as a person who's courageous in the face of all my circumstances. And again, it's not willpower that's giving me that courage, which is how I used to operate. It's just knowing that I can be with it. And I have the resources, I have the people around me that when I'm not dealing with it well and I'm getting in those old traps, I go and I get that resource, I get that support, and that's another upgrade for my system. And next time it won't trip me up that bad. And so there's a momentum and rhythm to life. And more importantly, the energy that you bring towards the creations that you're in the midst of developing, because that energy is everything. Mm-hmm. If I was just a pouty little mess every day about what I'm doing right now, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm no good, and like that's what I had to sit with, and I was just in that loathing. I'm just deep in my patterns. Instead, I'm having a real good time with it. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about other opportunities that come with it. I could see all this like future vision stuff that can happen out of just learning this like little new skill that I'm like, this will be great. Like it's really going to open up a whole world of opportunity for me that I've never been part of before. And again, still got to go through all the same stuff that every single one of us goes through when we're doing something new. It never changes. It's like, what would this world be if everybody just really became super loving around the process of learning? And I think the reason we don't value it as much is because when we were kids, it was kind of just the de facto of being a child, is you're just kind of in an environment for learning. You're in schools, or you're constantly being taught. You're not like, okay, I want to do that. But when we become an adult, we kind of just know we have the way that we do things. Everything's pretty established at that point in time. Our conditioning is intact. Like choosing into that is very different than just landing in that environment.
Yeah.
But like learning how to choose into that so that you can be a type of person that grows throughout your time on this planet is really, really valuable. And it's one of those things that keeps you young. If you're not engaged with life, I don't have to tell you what that looks like. We all know people that are not engaged with life. Like they are in a state of accelerated decline. And that's proven in blue zones. It's like one of the precursors to living a very long life is having purpose in this world, right? Is like knowing that you're creating something of value that is beautiful or, serves people in some particular way. And I think that's also the nice part about this kind of work in a subtle way, whether you choose to be a coach or a teacher, irrelevant, right? If you want to do that, fantastic. But when you carry this inside of you, you're valuable everywhere you go. You're valuable in every relationship. You're valuable in every conversation because you get to bring a level of presence and awareness to that person that whether they know it or not, you secretly know it's serving them. And I can't tell you how many students we've had in the past that say like, oh, I feel like I'm carrying this little secret around. How many of you guys just feel like you have this little secret, this like awesome little thing that you carry around within you? And it's so nuanced, it's so subtle. But like, just from where Elon and I are, like even I'm talking today, I recorded a video today and I'm like, I'm so relaxed in the video. I'm not putting it on. I'm not trying to have bullet points or a script. Like just last week I made a video and I was in some process and I was like, oh God, I was fucking tight and trying to do this. And today I'm like talking, I'm like, whoa. Like I can feel me so much. And I'm like, wow, this is great. Like, and I don't even care if the video does anything. I'm just like, fuck, I'm actually on video as me. And I hope that authenticity oozes through the screen so the person goes, what the fuck is that? Because we're so used to feeling the energy of a mask, of like a front, of a way that it's supposed to look. And like just to feel those layers come off. Yeah. Like somebody mentioned that about Elon. I feel that about me too. Like it's so crazy. Elon and I go through these like breakthroughs now and these like upgrades. I couldn't even begin to describe to you what happened, what changed, what the fuck I even did for that to occur. It's just, it is now just, the snowball has been rolling down the hill for such a long time at this point in time. The healing is literally just happening on its own. Like I am autonomously healing myself. And I remember my teacher saying like one day it'll just kind of stabilize and be there. And it's, truth be told, I feel like it's only kind of happened in these last 6 or 7 months. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything right now. I've never done such little processing to myself like I'm doing currently. And the things that are showing up are like these little tick, 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 but it's like there's so much awareness on just the smallest shift out of alignment. Like, truth be told, I'll tell you guys a funny story. I took my kid to, we have a there's a lot of cool parks here in San Diego. There's like SeaWorld, Legoland. Not that I want to support SeaWorld personally, but SeaWorld, Legoland, Disney's is not far away. Anyway, lots of cool parks. Legoland is like one of the coolest parks ever. It's like
Totally.
Like genuinely a joy to be at. And it's like 20 minutes from our house. So it's awesome. We have season passes, you know, like it's just, we just pay them in perpetuity basically, because whatever, it's like $45 a month and we all get to go whenever we want. And we take my son there like every 6 weeks or so. So it's awesome for him. Right. So we were in Legoland, and I did something that I haven't done in a long time, which is I took an edible and I like 5 milligrams. And for those of you guys who've ever taken an edible, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry ahead of time, but it's like a, you know, like a marijuana THC based little gummy that you can take, and it makes you high. And I haven't done this in a long time. Like I haven't been high in quite some time. So like, but I took it, and I've done this before here, and I found it like reasonably enjoyable in the past. And I took it, and the thought when it hit was, I'm never doing this again. Now just to be 100% clear, I am pro 420. I am a pro THC user. I smoked every day from like 17 to 23. Like there wasn't a day in my life I didn't smoke it. So very pro. Okay. No judgments for anybody who's not or has not done it. That's not the point of the conversation, but just to give you some context for where I've come from. I smoke very sparingly. And if I do, it's like, I'm a lightweight these days. Right. And part of that is just like, as I've increased my awareness, my sensitivity went through the roof.
Yeah.
Like the littlest bit, I'm like, whoa, okay. Cause it really alters my system, where before I had like, you know, when you're a user, you have the tolerance. So I took it, and I had this like thought, and I was like, whoa, I cannot even believe this thought has entered my head. And over the years, like, I really don't drink alcohol that much anymore. Not to say I don't ever. Like I had a beer this weekend, but I mean like less than probably 10 drinks per year now is what I consume. Very rarely change my state. You know, I did psychedelics for many years to try to escape my suffering, like all this kind of stuff. So I've always been very pro changing state. And I did it, and I was walking around, and I thought to myself, I'm probably never going to do this fucking thing again. Because it was so clear to me that it's not the energy I want to be in. It was like, why would I ever do this? I'm like, there's not one quality here that I was experiencing that I was saying, this is a quality that I choose to be in. It was like the exact opposite. And my wife didn't even know I took it. And I told her, I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm like, I think this might be the last time I take like an edible. Again, I'm not saying never, ever. Like I could find myself in a situation melting on a couch somewhere. It could happen. But like, it like actually kind of shocked my system when I had the thought, because now I live in California, where they finally legalized this funny little thing that when I was a kid, I would have been like, oh my God does exist. And now I don't even give a shit that they have it here. And it's a very strange experience for me. So it's like, that's what this work does. You know, it alters you from the inside out. It's so subtle, but then one day you're like, whoa, this is amazing. I have this unbelievable clarity, this feeling, this experience, this connection. I'm not looking to disconnect from this anymore. I'm not looking to disengage from my life. I'm not looking to disengage from what's happening inside of me. I'm actually looking to do the exact opposite. And so anything that would take that away from me, it's a really easy choice. It's like, no bueno, not for me. And I have no judgment. You want to do it, fucking get yourself high till you're blue in the face, right? But like, it's just like something was just like, not anymore, dude. I was like, wow, okay, fair enough. It was a really, really wild thing for me to experience.
You took too much. It
was just 5 milligrams.
5 milligrams is too much. It's funny. Yeah. No, I get it. I'm, you know what it is? I'm like, I know it's coming. The like, no more drinking, no more edible, no more anything. Like, I know, because like I've spoken to teachers, and I just know like eventually it's not something that you have to choose in and out of. It's just something that like your body will be resistant to. Your body won't let you eat it, drink it, whatever. Like one of our teachers told me this great story about about what's his face drinking, and he was saying that he had this insight that like he heard this voice and he was like, you have a week left to drink alcohol.
Right.
And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he goes out to a bar with his friends and they all get, a pint of beer, whatever. And he's sitting there and he's like, he tastes it. And he's like, oh, this is skunked. And he gives it back to the guy. He's like, this beer is skunked. And he's like, we just tapped a fresh keg. Like, that's impossible. He's like, well, I don't know. Then maybe something's dirty with your lines. He's like, no, it's fine. And so he turns to his friends and he's like, this beer is skunked, right? And they're like, no, man, it's totally fine. And he was like, God damn it. They like, his taste buds changed and now he couldn't enjoy thing that he enjoyed before. So like, I know at some point it's coming because I just know that this is kind of that path that I've chosen. And Guy's pointing to something really interesting. It's like, I think before we would do these things to change our state to almost like relieve something, right? Like a lot of people cope with alcohol or weed or pills or food or sex or drugs, whatever it is, right? But when you can be with whatever is arising moment by moment by moment, and there's joy, like actual joy that as you're witnessing, you're like, whoa, that is so cool. Like I'm watching this thing happen inside. It's like, you don't really want to turn that off, right? Like you enjoy that aspect of awareness, basically. So yeah. And this is kind of, like people were talking about how they love this and, they feel like they have this superpower. What I want to make really, really clear is your soul's purpose, whatever it might be, whatever you came here to deliver or experience, there's no amount of work that you're going to be able to do that's going to eliminate you from being human and living this life. And what I mean by that is shit is always going to come. People in your life will leave because of shit that happens, death, sickness, whatever, right? Like that's inevitable. We're here. There are going to be times in your life where you're going to feel like you're crushing life in money, etc. And then there are going to be times in life where like you feel like you've lost everything. There are going to be times in your life where things and situations stress you out, or you have to make big decisions that can change the complexity of the entire trajectory of your life. Like it's all going to keep happening. That's not stopping. You can't become proficient enough at personal development or spirituality or whatever it is to stop that from happening. It's going to happen. What will and I mean drastically change is your ability to dance with life, your ability to ride these waves. The analogy I keep seeing, it's like humans are standing in the ocean with their hands up and going, I demand these waves to stop. I'm angry. Make them stop. And it's like, the ocean doesn't give a flying fuck about you. You want to stand there with your hands like this? All right, you're just going to get pummeled. Like, it does not care. You're standing there, not standing there. You're upset. It doesn't care. The wave's coming. It's going to pummel you. So if instead of doing that, you're like, okay, waves. How do I learn to ride waves? So they're going to keep coming. And if you can learn to ride waves, I don't know if you've ever body surfed or boogie boarded or surfed or whatever it might be. You know what? It's kind of a lot of fun. It's challenging as hell, but it's a lot of fun. You still fall. You still get knocked out and scared and all that stuff. But like the moments that you actually ride waves are so exciting. And then you want to do it all over again. And so that's what it takes. But in order to do that, and this is where the whole conversation started, it's like you have to have the courage to step out into the ocean. And there's a level of trust and letting go into something, like Guy and I found teachers that I can't say we trusted, 100% from the get-go. And there was something inside that was like, yeah, this person showed up in my life at a time where I'm like, I can see that they're here to really show me something or teach me something. And so I trusted and I surrendered and I jumped. And I'm so grateful every second of every day that I'm alive that I did say yes to those crazy things. And trust me, and Guy knows this, we were in a mystery school. I was so excited when we joined the mystery school. I came to the first live event, and on day 2, I said to Guy, I was like, I'm fucking out of here, bro. This isn't for me. This is stupid. These people are crazy. I'm never going to end up doing any of this. I feel like all this is fake. I just can't do it. And what it took was people helping me to recognize that that wasn't me, but there was this part that was incredibly scared at what it was witnessing. And then I spent a whole entire day finding that part and trying to recognize what was actually happening. And I ended up finding this part that was running my entire life, my entire life, as far as I remember. And anytime this part saw something that it didn't think that we would be good at, it ran. And so I stayed, and I ended up doing the program again. After the first 2-year stint, we did it again. And I was like, I'm so beyond grateful to have had awareness to realize the duality of it, right? The soul's purpose and the human aspect, and not buying into the human scaredy cat part, but actually trusting that the soul wanted something. So I really, really, really hope for those of you who are here who have just joined this community, in whatever way I can share this with you. If anything that you've heard us say today in other videos and programs, whatever, right? If it resonates with you, really stop and think, in a world of no accidents, what brought me here? What brought you here? At this moment in your life, why are you here? And are you willing to sit on the sidelines for the next year, 3, 5, learning more or acquiring more information, rather than getting onto the playing field, sailing out into the middle of the ocean, as scared as that might be, and actually doing the work? And the best part is, I tell this to everyone, the beauty of this community is that for the first time in your life, I promise you, you will not be alone. And it doesn't matter what you're going through. Look, we have people in our highest end programs, they're still getting divorced. They're transitioning from businesses. Health shit happens. But you know what? Talk to them about how they're being with those situations versus how they would have been with those situations 6 months ago. They can't even comprehend that they are moving through these things in their life with joy and open-heartedness and awareness and support and community and people. They couldn't have even dreamed of this, because your mind and the human doesn't even know that this is a possibility. It doesn't matter how much you've heard it. It doesn't get it. It's that's impossible. That's impossible. That's impossible. That's impossible. It's not. It just takes courage, and it takes jumping. So look, I don't know what brought you here. What I can guarantee you is it wasn't an accident. People don't fall into Satori Prime. We're not the first bus stop on the road to personal development and transformation. You guys have been at it. And something here, whether it was the ad, whether it was the messaging, whether it was the energy, this beacon that has been created, not by Guy and I, but like by the entire community and the coaches and every student that has been through these doors before you, some energy has been created here that's like a beacon that pinged your soul and was like, yo, 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 look, look, look. Don't waste another opportunity. That's my ultimate message to you today. Because 3, 5, 10 years from now, you will look back at it and go, fuck, why didn't I start when I was 40 or 50? Because here I am at 60 doing the same shit. You don't have to. You just got to be courageous.
Can you give us a little like Matthew McConaughey?
Speaking of this, you'll appreciate this. So we like, if you guys haven't watched the Planet Earth series as a whole, I can't highly recommend it enough, but Planet Earth 3 came out. So yesterday I'm watching this thing about forests. And look, this is what's so cool. Like you talk about awareness and what we can and can't see, right? Like our technology for cameras and microphones and this and that has become so insane that we are learning things about animals that we never knew because we couldn't record it in that way. Dude, there is these, they're in the, I think in the Amazon jungle, they're called tree hoppers. They're these little bugs in the craziest configurations that you have ever seen, like the most interesting bugs ever. And someone decided that they're going to stick these really powerful microphones next to these things. And each bug makes a completely unique sound, like a language, and they use it to communicate with each other. Mm-hmm. And you're watching this and you're like, dude, this is insane. So yesterday there's this bug and this other bug tries to come kill its babies. And this thing raises his arms like this and makes this crazy sound. And all of a sudden bees come out of nowhere and start attacking this other bug that was going to kill its babies. And you're like thinking like, first of all, what fucking bat whistle call does this bug have to call in bees, like, which is a different insect, right? To protect its young and itself. And you're like, and then you're like, why? Why are bees interested in doing this? So these bees go to these babies and they tickle their back and the babies excrete like a sugary water drop from their butt, basically, and these bees eat it. So it's like this symbiotic relationship. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, dude, nature is so fucking brilliant. Mm-hmm. It's brilliant. And that brilliance, guys, is what created you and me and Guy and everything else in the fucking universe, multiverse. That energy created it. If you can't see perfection in how everything unfolds, you are missing it. Mm-hmm. You're just missing it. Like nothing is happening to you. It's literally happening for and through you. You are the creation. And if you don't like what is being created, stop fucking playing with Legos. That's it.
I love that. I was watching one of those shows too. There's one about national parks. And I was watching this hornbill.
By the way, it said you left the room, but I can hear you talking.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's my internet conked out there for a moment. So hopefully this sounds like the voice of God. So I watched this. I watched this hornbill the other day who has a relationship with, I want to say it was some kind of like prairie dog or something. And the reason for that is the prairie dogs find the food that the hornbill likes. So they have this, so it just follows them around. But the symbiosis is that the hornbill will fly up to a tree to play scout. And when a predator comes for them, it warns them that a predator is coming because the relationship is that important. I know. I saw a magpie the other day. Magpie. We think we have the biggest brain to body ratio. Not true. Magpie, bird, more brain than body than the human beings. I watched it try to get water from a water bottle. So it sticks its beak down and it drinks, but then the water gets too low. What the hornbill figured out, if you go get rocks and put them into the bottle, that it displaces the water up and then it can continue to drink. Do you know how long it took Isaac Newton to figure out that we displace fucking water? But a bird figured it out. So just saying.
Nature, man. I'm telling you. But that's the thing. Like, you're either, to me, it's like we're either fighting the forces of nature, like standing there trying to fight the ocean, or you're like, okay, it is working through me, but I'm obviously distorting it right now in a way that doesn't give me the results that I want. Then guess what? It's in here that you get to work to like remove the distortion so you can be in flow with nature. Otherwise, like, what the fuck are you doing?
So to close up today, guys, if you're listening to this, whether it's recording on audio, however you're getting this content, hopefully, this motivates you, because we really just want to get you on, our desire is to get you on the path of learning and more importantly, the path of experiencing. Here's the reality. You do this work, it works. Just want to always highlight that. Like, we have no doubt, not one stitch, iota of that. If you apply this to your life and you commit to doing just simple practices, a few minutes a day, your life and the quality, it will completely change. Generally speaking, that starts with people setting a foundation for their mindset and then working towards energetics and awareness practices. Again, we have all the courses laid out for you. We're always happy to give you consultation on how to build it, how we would go about it. And you're welcome to generate, get on calls with us. If you haven't booked a call with us and our system hasn't told you 5 million times to do it, I'm so sorry, but you can just email support@satoriprime.com if you want to do that. I do want to give you a small thing that we've done recently that's an upgrade. And so for those of you guys that have been sitting on the sidelines, you want to do a program, but either it's cost prohibitive or whatever it might be, if you go to soulsandseekers.com/level 1, that's our level 1 awareness academy work. That's usually the place most people get to start. We'll reach out to you and have conversations with you about continued education, but that's at least a program you can enroll yourself in. Level 2 and level 3, you need our approval to get into those programs. So if you want to get into that work, again, soulsandseekers.com/level 1, get all the information. But here's the upgrade that we made. We figured out if you are want to get a year's worth, so you can buy it monthly or you can sign up for a year. We recommend the year. It will save you money. It's 72 live group coaching programs and an unbelievable 7-module course that's in there, okay? That comes along with it. But here's the shtick. If you want to make level 1 into payment plans, you now have that option. It's going to take you to a Stripe checkout page. You guys will all probably use the Firm or Klarna or whatever it is in your country that lets you break up payments. So you can now do that program broken up into 4 interest-free payments. You could do more if you want, but they will apply some level of interest for you. But if you want to break up those payments to 4 monthly payments, and you actually don't have to even make your first month's payment, you can make that first month payment 30 days out. So it gives you a long runway, and you can just do it yourself. It takes a few minutes, and you can get started in the program. It's we're trying to make it easier and easier to get into this work, regardless of what your financial situation might be. So again, I highly recommend it. soulsandseekers.com/level 1. Check out the work. Slide down and then check out the year-long program. Save yourself some money. Break up the payments if that helps you. But that's the place to get started. That's the place to start getting support. That's the place to start getting the feedback from our coaching community on how to bring this work into your life in a real sustainable and predictable way. Okay? We love you all, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you, dear one, for choosing to share a bit of your day with us. We value you greatly. And as a way to give back and help you to deepen these practices, we want to invite you to join our incredible community on Facebook. You can do so easily by going to joinoldsouls.com and ask for an invite. This is our private community where old souls and seekers are able to grow and share their journey with others. We hold exclusive weekly live streams, we answer your personal questions, and offer valuable insights that we won't be able to share here on the podcast. So again, just head to joinoldsouls.com and grab your invite today. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, please head to iTunes and leave us a review. It's the only way other people can find this show. So if it's making a difference in your life, please share the love. Until we meet again, have an amazing week, dear one.